Now going live. Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to silence their phones, please. I'm calling this meeting to an order. I'm noting the presence of a quorum. Please keep your microphones on mute unless you're speaking, of course. Please unmute your microphones for voting, but only if you are voting no or are abstaining from voting. And two, to ask questions or provide comments. So we have the following action items. Approval of the minutes of the June 2nd, 2022 meeting of the fund. Any amendments? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I like a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Senator. I'm now calling for a vote. Trustees only unmute to vote no or abstain. Okay, hearing none, motion carries unanimously. I will now move the second resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing contract for arch bus upgrades and enhancements. This is a resolution to authorize CUCF to enter into the CUCF DTL arch bus contract and provide funding in an amount not to exceed $1.4 million. I will now call on Executive Director Mohammed Atalia to give an explanation of the item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Archbus is a leading provider of real estate infrastructure and facilities management software that supports many of our central office initiatives. It's also used by our 25 colleges, 25 campuses for space management, and by about 17 campuses for maintenance program. The proposed upgrade will consolidate the system from 6 servers into a single server, which will eliminate the need for redundant licenses and dramatically simplify system maintenance. The recommended enhancements align with the university's strategic objectives and deliver substantial value by improving services to stakeholders and reducing effort, risk, and cost as outlined in the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion of this? Questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to call for a motion on this, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Senator. I'm now going to call for a vote. I request the trustees only unmute to vote no or to abstain. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. I now move the third resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing requirements, contracts for legal services related to university capital products. This is a resolution to authorize CUCF to award the CUCF 2022 legal services requirements contract and to provide eligible capital funding for task orders in an aggregate amount not to exceed $1 million for each of the contracts. I will now call on Executive Director Mohammed Atalia to give us an explanation of the item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have issued a request for qualifications to solicit and award legal services requirements contracts to support the university's plan to manage more university capital projects through CUCF on an expedited as needed basis to support the university goal to expand, improve, and renovate university facilities. Thank you.
Okay. I just have a question. So we haven't determined yet who we're using. Is that correct? This is just approval to go out and see.
We received the awards and the teams have determined the offices and the entities that will be using.
Okay. Is there any way you could forward that to us after the meeting to take a look at?
Yeah, sure, we can forward the names, yes.
Okay, that would be very helpful. I'd like to know who, as I know the other trustees would, who we're doing business with. Okay, I'm calling, I need a motion on this item,
I have-
please. Yes,
Well, I have a,
go ahead, Senator.
first question. Is there going to be one firm or multiple firms?
It's multiple firms for different areas. So we have 6 firms for real estate and land use legal service, and 8 contracts for procurement and construction legal service, and 3 contracts for government entity governance. So it's multiple firms.
Okay, thank you. That was a major question. Are the lawyers being, so that we add up the number of contracts, that would be 11, 17 contracts. Are we talking $17 million? Up to 17 million?
Yes, it's the maximum of 1 million per firm. That is correct.
So that conceivably we can be spending $17 million on outside counsel.
Yeah, it could be. However, I believe it's probably unlikely that we'll go to that number. It's a balance. It's a balance between, as per your earlier question, Senator, is it single sourced or we have multiple? So we try to have a number of legal firms we can deal with, but this is not necessarily that we will end up spending $1 million on each.
Are the lawyers being paid a flat rate or an hourly rate? Or not specified?
Sorry, can you say the second question again, please?
Are the lawyers going to be paid a flat rate, or are they billing hourly the way lawyers like to do?
Is Attorney Burrell can respond to that, or?
So they bid rates for us to evaluate them. We have the flexibility at a task order level to ask them for a flat rate for certain work if it's appropriate. So they were evaluated on, that's the only way we can evaluate them, but we can do whatever we want at task order level.
Good. Okay, no, I'm just asking, in my last question, were these put out to bid, or were they selected from a group? How were they chosen, or have they been chosen yet?
That has been a process as outlined in the resolution, Senator. We issued a request for qualification. There was a document that was completed, put out on the market, and all interested firms have applied, and a team have reviewed all the submissions, and those qualified and met the criteria have been chosen to enter into a contract with.
Yeah,
But that's fine. That's all I wanted to know. It's not a sole source.
yeah. Vice Chancellor, I think the trustees would like to know more about, first, who the firms were that picked and what their proposed rates are. And this is going to also, and you can circulate that to all the trustees. This is also going to be an issue when we get to the 4 real estate brokers that were picked. We'd like to know who they are and what the fee structure is and what the criteria was for picking them. This is a new venture for CUNY where we're going to be doing a lot of our own work and spending money. And we really want to know, and as fiduciaries, we have to know, first, who we're doing business with, and second, what they're charging us. Okay.
And if I can,
yes, go ahead, please.
if I can ask, I know in the memo that we had encouraged minority and women-owned businesses to apply, but it would be interesting for us to know, one, how many MWBE firms did complete our request to participate in this, and out of what we've chosen, have we moved or increased our goal or helped achieve the goal that we've set out for ourselves in terms of MWBE participation.
That is a very good point, trustee. And I couldn't.
Mr. Chair, I think you got frozen. I think he was about to say that it was a brilliant idea,
Yes.
a wonderful question, and one that he would have asked as well. So good. There you go.
No, well, the MWBE, whether the firm, we will provide the information. That's a very an excellent request. What I wish to provide is whether the firm chosen is an MWBE or not. We do have our threshold is a 30% MWBE for all vendors and all business that we do with. So that's a goal that we have to meet. But we'll provide the information, and we do have that as our target, encouraging MWBE.
That's great.
And enhancing it. It's one of our strategic directions, really.
That's great, because if you look at the two industries where MWBs have a very hard time of getting in, one is real estate and the other is the legal profession. And if we have public dollars available to spend, this is an opportunity to try to enhance those two industries and diverse representation in them. So thank you.
Thank you. May I add, I think that's a great idea. I really do. There's one other ingredient. It would not apply to the brokers or to the attorneys, but I think we also ought to make sure that every construction contract has a project labor agreement, a PLA.
Mm-hmm. Is that a question or?
No, that's the sort of a corollary to the lawyer,
Yes.
real estate broker idea of the WMBE. I think we also have to absolutely ensure that we have a PLA with each contract that's let.
Perhaps, Senator, maybe the team can go back and think through what that would look like.
Lawyers would not be included, and neither would real estate brokers, but certainly on construction contracts, it's applicable.
I'm going to call for a vote on what we just discussed on the legal services requirements. I need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, second. All in favor? Okay. Hearing no no's or to abstain, motion carries unanimously. I now move the fourth resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing requirement contracts for real estate broker services for CUNY-owned facilities. This is a resolution to authorize CUNY to provide funding for task orders in an aggregate amount not to exceed $5 million for each of the CUCF 2022 real estate CUNY-owned broker service requirement contracts. I now call on Executive Director Mohammed Otari to give an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We issued a new request for qualifications to solicit and award real estate CUNY-owned broker service requirements contracts solicitation to support the university's efforts to dispose of certain university real estate leases and enter into public-private partnerships where applicable in connection with the university real estate on an as-needed basis. And those are 4 requirements contracts. And I wish to ask our legal counsel, Scott Burrell, if he has names of the 4 vendors, could state them now. Scott, do you have them?
Yeah, the 4 are Savills, Jones Lang LaSalle, Newmark, and CBRE.
Okay.
And
what it? Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. There was one other submission, Amali Industries, who was not awarded.
Okay. And okay, fair enough. I think that answers the question as far as that goes. I need a motion on this item, please.
couple of questions first, please.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry,
absolutely, Senator.
I gather there are 13 leases, $5 million a lease.
13 leases, sorry, the question.
Did I hear?
The senator is asking that,
13 leases?
it's 5.
How much can this cost is my question, really.
Yeah, again, the maximum, what we include in a requirements contract, usually we include a maximum limit for each vendor. And the limit that is utilized here is 5 million over 5 years, and there are 4 contracts. But again, that doesn't mean that there will be $20 million worth of business here being awarded. We're trying to be open process. As our legal counsel explained, we have received 5 submissions. 4 have been awarded contracts in order to make sure that we are as open as possible to the community. But again, that doesn't mean that we'll award the $20 million worth of work to 5 million each.
So,
Second,
yes, go ahead.
the question, yeah, let me just ask another follow-up. Are they broken down geographically so that each vendor covers a particular area?
In this solicitation, it was just for the overall campuses. It was not divided into zones. However, that could be accomplished. That could be done.
Just asking
Yeah.
in terms of, specialization in certain areas. For example, if I had to go to Staten Island, I wouldn't know where to start. Not that. So I'm just suggesting another way to look at it is to divide it up geographically. Are we talking residences or other structures? And does this cover leases or the sale of the property?
It has a combination of real estate transactions for CUNY-owned facilities, some of which is a sale of resident houses, for example.
Because we approved, I think it was Medgar Evers and College of Staten Island and so forth. Have those been sold yet?
Status, Scott?
Medgar Evers has been sold, and the Staten Island has been marketed and offers are in. So it's underway.
Are there any others?
Not currently underway. And we would bring all of those, every time we would do a transaction, they would come back to the board,
Okay.
for the approval of it and how we're going to do the brokers as well.
Fine, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve this, please?
Do so move it.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Hearing no abstentions, this carries unanimously. I will now move the 5th resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing requirement contracts for construction services related to university capital products. This is a resolution to authorize CUCF to award the CUCF 2022 contractor requirement contracts and provide funding for task orders in an aggregate amount not to exceed the amounts indicated for each of the contracts. I will now call on Executive Director Mohammed Attari to give an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This requirements contract is a continuation of our efforts to enhance the capabilities of the university to be able to undertake work with their own team. So we have issued a contractor requirements contract solicitation to solicit and award the contractor's requirement contracts to provide for the ability to engage firms to provide construction services in these trades. And it were particularly mechanical, electrical, and general trades in this particular solicitation. To enhance the university ability to effectively and efficiently deliver capital projects on an expedited as needed basis to support the university goal to expand and renovate our facilities. We worked on this solicitation extensively with the Office of the State Controller. It took quite a bit of time, maybe over 2 months, to fine tune the solicitation itself and the RFP that went out with the values and with those levels of awards. The team, for information for the trustees, the team is working now on plumbing, windows, and roofing to be able to enhance the capabilities in all of those types of trades. This is the majority of our work that we need to undertake in order to improve the functional performance of our facilities. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'd like a motion on this, please.
No, sorry about this, but let me point out on page 2 that Andrew Cuomo is no longer governor. Even though it was submitted, I think, the records ought to reflect just the office of the governor. My main question, are you doing this with project labor agreements or not?
Attorney Burrell.
These contracts, these don't have project labor agreements. When we do CM services contracts, we typically do project labor agreements, and we want to work on a comprehensive PLA for the entire organization. So these would be subject to WICS. So any of the WICS related work from the trades that are required to do separate would be under that.
I thought we repealed WICS years ago.
No, WICS is still in place. You don't have to comply with WICS
Really?
if you have a PLA, which is one of the benefits of the PLA.
Right.
That's why we want to get a agency-wide PLA or entity-wide PLA, because it makes the administration much easier.
Thank you.
All right, could I have a motion on this item, please?
So moved.
Okay, could I have a
Second.
second, please? Thank you. All in favor? Hearing no opposition or abstentions, motion carries unanimously. I will now move the 6th resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing upgrades for the North Academic Center chilled water system at City College of New York. This is a procedure to authorize DASNY to proceed to construct and complete the NAC chilled water system upgrade and not to provide capital funding in an amount not to exceed $25,165,800. I will now call in the Executive Director, Mohammed Attaya, to give an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The North Academic Center chilled water system at City College, this upgrade will replace and modify existing condenser water piping and related valves to resolve cooling tower flow imbalances. The existing 15 cooling towers will be refurbished in their entirety as outlined in the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Concerns? All right. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. I will now take a vote. All those in favor? Okay. Hearing no abstentions, or no's. Motion carries unanimously. I will now move to the 7th resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing phase 2 of the central chiller upgrades at Queens College. This is a resolution to authorize DASNY to proceed to construct and complete the Queens College chiller upgrade Phase 2 and to provide capital funding in an amount not to exceed $39,160,000. I will now call on Executive Director Mohammed Atalia to give an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project is the second of three phases of the central chiller plant project that will provide chilled water for air conditioning to buildings on the campus, eliminating the need for multiple chillers at each individual building. The scope of work in this phase will provide and install 4 chillers, cooling towers, pumps, and other mechanical pieces as part of the chiller plant at Queens College. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none. I would like to call for a motion, please.
So moved.
Okay, I will second it. Now I'm going to call for a vote. Only unmute to vote no or to abstain. Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. I will now move the 8th resolution. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund authorizing renovations of the Marsick Hall Plaza and roof at City College of New York. This is a resolution to authorize DASNY to proceed to construct and complete the plaza renovations and provide capital funding in an amount not to exceed $41,963,000. I will now call on Executive Director Mohammed Atalia to give an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Marshak Hall consists of a large podium base containing athletic facilities and a 13-story tower, which houses City College's science departments. The large-scale roof of the podium base is currently unused and severely compromised, causing water filtration to the spaces below, which includes the lobbies, the gym, corridors, and other areas within the athletic facilities. The proposed project will completely replace and upgrade the existing roof, as well as upgrade the space, make use of the space that's currently not used to provide better gathering space for students and better activities, student activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion on this?
I have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
Resolution says that the roof has exceeded its life expectancy, so to speak. Why was it designed? Why wasn't the roof designed to exist without impediments as well as the base of the building? Because we've seen a lot of roof repairs of the $20 to $40 million category, but the basic building remains the same. And I just was wondering why during the design phase, when it was first put up, the roof doesn't last with.
Yeah, the roof components, similar to other building components, they age and they need to be replaced and upgraded at a certain point. And this roof has exceeded its life expectancy, similar to some other building components across the system. And it was time, due to its stage and age and condition at this point, that need to be replaced. And so this is why we have the replacement and also the upgrade above. This roof is an accessible roof. It is not like any other roof in any other building. It's accessible. It has a very large area that could be utilized by students and provide value to be used for the academic community.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to have a motion on this, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Could I have a second, please? Okay, I'll second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, I will now call for a vote. I request that trustees only unmute to vote no or to abstain. Okay, hearing no objections and no abstentions, motion carries unanimously. I will report on the last resolution. Fellow trustees, the Board Committee on Governance considered the following matter at its meeting on July 7, 2022, which I will now present to the Board. Resolution of the City University Construction Fund approving the annual report on procurement contracts and guidelines for procurement contracts. This resolution approves and adopts the guidelines for procurement contracts last amended on June 1, 2021, and the annual report on procurement contracts for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. I present item 9 for the board's consideration. That concludes my report. Thank you. Can I have a motion on this, please?
Move it.
Okay, second it. I will now call for a vote. I request that trustees only unmute to vote no and to abstain. All right, hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Okay, I have one final comment. The next meeting of the City University Construction Fund will be held on Thursday, October 20th at 9:30 a.m. On the same day, the Audit Committee will meet at 9. Members of the Audit Committee include myself and Trustee Van Capelli. Is there any further items of business before the committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned, and everybody have a nice summer, and thank you for your time.